Our new anime begins with a man who was a knight in his previous life, but reincarnates as the strongest cat and gets pet by an elf girl in another world. He decides to protect her at any cost and live his harem life. The story begins with a man who was killed by a demon and then reincarnates in another world. Then he sees his skills and realizes he can absorb anyone's skills after eating them. He thinks he reincarnates as a behemoth. After that, we see a start her day and goes to a dungeon. After that, when he sees his face, he realizes he is reincarnated as a cat with extraordinary skills. Then he sees a demon lord Rimuru. From that time I got reincarnated as a slime and decides to eat him and absorb his skills. After eating him, he gets infinite storage and decides to kill more creatures. He attacks a wyvern, kills it, and eats it. After that, he sees an anaconda that is bigger than mine, kills it, and eats it. Then we see Arya-chan riding on a boat, and a sailor is enjoying the view from the top. She reaches near a dungeon and shows her gold card, but the soldier is dreaming of looking at her pink card. On the other side, after killing the anaconda, the cat sees a treasure chest and gets excited because, in his previous life, he didn't find any. He opens the treasure chest and finds a transport crystal that teleports him to a dragon. The dragon, a menacing creature, sentences him to death and launches an attack. Despite the cat's efforts, the dragon's immense power leaves him defenseless. The dragon mocks him, calling him weak, and uses a skill called Ether Edge to launch an aerial attack. The cat, desperate to escape, faints from exhaustion. Then we see Arya-chan enter the dungeon and see the fainted cat. She reaches there to help him. The cat wakes up and feels strange about where he is, and thinks he should have died in the dungeon. A lady moves closer to the cat and is happy he woke up. The cat wonders who the lady is and if he is in heaven. The lady introduces herself as Arya-chan. He is given kitty milk, and he goes ahead to drink it. He promised to serve and protect his lifesaver as a true knight. The cat ran towards the way his master went. He decided to look after that girl and make Arya his master because she saved his life, and decided to go with her without Arya noticing. E-rank goblins appeared to attack. Arya-chan stood up and fought the goblins. The cat marveled at how his master fought with the knives. Then suddenly, one goblin started attacking from behind. But thanks to her cat, who saved her with his power, Arya-chan was surprised and wondered why the cat came to the dungeon and also how she was saved by him. She thought the cat was no ordinary cat. As he expected, his master caressed him and thanked him for saving her. He felt so relieved as he was placed on her juicy melons, and he got angry when a man stopped them. The man, who was an S-rank adventurer, invited Arya-chan to join his party and was trying to flirt with her, but Arya-chan turned him down, saying she was not interested in joining a party with a man. He kept pushing further with his dirty game, and that pissed off the jealous cat, who cursed the man looking at her with filthy eyes. Then the cat started attacking him and bit the man. The angry man got upset and moved ahead to kill the cat, but he was stopped by the guild's receptionist, Anasan, who was an X-rank adventurer. The man lied to Anasan, saying he was just showing off his sword, and ran away out of fear. Anasan noticed the cat seemed promising and looked like a knight. Arya-chan told her the cat was her friend and had saved her when she was attacked earlier by a goblin in the dungeon. Arya-chan announced she would officially raise the cat as her pet from today on, and she named him Tama-chan. The cat, whose name is now Tama-chan, was happy he would be able to accompany his master without hesitation. Anasan told Arya-chan the cat could also crossbreed, so he might attack her during the mating season, and they could grow up to 2 meters. She asked if she would be okay with that. Arya-chan invited Tama-chan for a bath, and he felt it was absurd for a proud knight like him to bathe with a female, but he did not have a choice. After all, he is his master's knight, and he needs to stay close to her in case anything happens. Arya-chan asked Tama-chan if she would ever become strong again, and told him the story of how she was attacked by demonic troops years ago in the country where she used to live. It was then that the master fencer appeared. Tama-chan remembered he had heard about the master fencer and how he saved the entire country alone before, and had always wished to be like him. Tama-chan then made a promise that day to his master to protect her until the day she achieved her ambitions. A little while after bathing, when they got to the Adventure Guild, Anna said to give a report on the quest. She told them that it was not the right time because the man had just brought bad news to her. The bad news was that Tama-chan would be slain for injuring the Baron's son. Tama-chan immediately thought of running away to avoid being slain, but he still could not leave his master because of the vow he had made to her. The man told them the only solution was to have a duel with him, and if she won, the decree would be revoked, and he would take her as a wife. Tama-chan felt so bad that he could not protect his master, and promised to make the man pay for making his master cry. The duel began between the D-rank adventurer and Arya-chan. The man told Arya-chan to surrender, as her cat was powerless, and her moves were too simple. He wanted to attack her with a knife, but Tama-chan jumped into the scene and saved his master from getting stabbed. His only duty is protecting his master with his life. While the fight was going on, Tama-chan got hurt, and the man told Arya-chan that it would have been avoided if only she had accepted to be his wife. Tama-chan told his master not to surrender, as he would do everything to save her. He would have to use a non-magical skill, but he would be found out if he did that. All of a sudden, Tama-chan used one of his skills, Iron Shield, and the man suddenly went flying and landed on the floor. Arya-chan was confused if it was Tama-chan that did that, and in the end, she was able to defeat the man. Arya-chan was declared the winner, and she thanked Tama-chan for saving her. On the other hand, she scolded him and warned him not to do something dangerous like that next time. Ana-san told Arya-chan that the skill Tama-chan used at the end was so strong that he thought he was a monster, but he thought he had come across an elemental cat with racial skills that understand human language and emotion. After that, they went to their home and slept together. The cat was happy because now he had a chance to touch her juicy melons, and that's where episode 1 ends. Let me know if you need further adjustments. The story begins with our hero Koyomi walking around, breathing heavily, with sharp fangs visible among his teeth. He finds a door, opens it slowly, and steps outside onto a balcony. Suddenly, his eyes widen as he notices the area swarming with crows. He descends a staircase, watching the crows, which seem to stare back at him. As he continues walking, the clouds part and the sun shines bright. The sunlight hits Koyomi, and his entire body bursts into flames. He runs around, screaming, frightening the crows away before he falls off the building. We flash back to March 25th, where Koyomi is walking down the street. He stops when a girl
Despite his repeated failed attempts, he finally summoned the courage to ask his crush out, only to be brutally rejected, just like the 99 times before. But things were about to change when he entered high school, and the awkward, unattractive Rento would somehow become a magnet for girls, even marrying several to make up for his past rejections. It all started when Rento gathered the courage to confess his feelings to his longtime crush. She told him she liked him, yes, but only as one of her fans, not as someone she would ever date. She even went as far as saying that the thought of dating a loser like him made her want to puke. This rejection sent Rento spiraling into a deep depression, wishing he could just disappear. As his friend walked him home, they tried to cheer him up, making light of the fact that it was his 100th rejection. His friend joked that he might even set a Guinness World Record for it. Meanwhile, Rento just stood there sobbing like a broken soul, thinking back on his first rejection and wondering if he'd ever know what it felt like to have a girlfriend. His friend, confused by Rento's consistent failures despite his many good qualities, bid him farewell with a sarcastic good luck for his high school love life, which seemed doomed to be another disaster. That night, Rento went to a shrine to pray to the god of love, hoping for a miracle. He felt he had nothing to offer, no redeeming qualities, that he desperately wished for a life of joy and love. As he prayed, something strange happened. A voice echoed through the shrine. Startled, Rento saw a muscular old man emerge from the donation box, claiming to be the great god of love. But the god told Rento not to worry. He would meet his soulmate in high school, and his life would be filled with love and happiness. Rento was overwhelmed with hope at the thought of meeting his
Rio wakes up surrounded by clouds, standing before. One day, the new gate became a death game, making it impossible for players to log out, and our protagonist Shin kept fighting to beat the game. We then see Shin leaving to fight the final boss of the game, and his friends ask him to take care of himself. Afterward, Shin fights the final boss and tries to take its head, but the final boss dodges, and Shin only manages to cut off its wing. The boss then regenerates its wing, and Shin keeps on attacking. After a long battle, he chips down almost all of its HP and takes out the final boss with one of his skills. He then hears an announcement telling him that the dungeon has been cleared and that players can now log out. Shin is happy that it's finally over and uses a scroll to check if everyone is able to log out. He notices the names of players disappearing from the scroll, and one by one, all players log out, leaving him as the only one left. He then tries to log out as well, but notices a gate appearing behind him and wonders why there are still events happening in the game. Afterwards, Shin opens his eyes in a grassland and realizes that this place looks far too realistic to be a game. He checks the menu and notices he can still pull up game windows. He finds out his stats have improved significantly, likely because he defeated the final boss. He tries to log out now that he has beaten the game, but the logout option is gone. He also checks if anyone else is online, but the scroll doesn't work since he is not connected to the network. He thinks he shouldn't even be able to move if he's not connected and begins to wonder if this is reality. Unable to understand anything, he uses an item to locate his home base. On the way there, he notices a giant walled city that wasn't present before. Eventually, he arrives at his house and finds some guys trying to drag a girl away from it. As soon as they get her out of the barrier surrounding the house, a monster attacks them. The guys flee, leaving the girl behind, and she believes she's going to be killed. But Shin saves her and tells her he is home. The two of them talk inside the house, and the girl introduces herself as Tiara Lucent. She thanks Shin for saving her and asks if he knows her master. Shin doesn't know what she is talking about, but Tiara mentions that everyone knows the acting shopkeeper of the Moon Sanctum, named Schnee Rizar. Shin remembers that Schnee was one of his support characters,